Hello, and welcome to this video tutorial introducing you to the new Faculty Evaluation System, or FES for short. I'm Debbie Jin, Fellow in the Office of Faculty Evaluation. In this video, I'm going to provide an overview of FES and how it differs from CFEP. We'll then cover the types of data that will be submitted for evaluation. And in the next video, I will introduce you to Activity Insight. To start, I direct you to the purple handout. Keep in mind that the transition to FES was as a result of feedback and recommendations from the faculty and reflects nearly 2 years of work of your peers on the Faculty Evaluation Council. The most welcome difference between FES and CFEP is that the new system is significantly simplified. It is still a mixed model. In other words, it collects both quantitative and qualitative data, but the data collection process is much simpler. The main difference between FES and CFEP is the feedback loop between the faculty member and the chair or department. Ultimately, you will have an annual conversation with your chair consisting of 2 parts. The first part to review the year's activities and how they aligned with stated goals, and the second part to set new goals and expectations for the following year. Because there is essentially no routing of documents back and forth, there is a greater need for clarity on what chair and departmental expectations are. With CFEP, most documents were routed from the Office of Faculty Evaluation to the faculty member, to the chair, back to the Office of Faculty Evaluation, then to the dean, sometimes back to the faculty member, etc. In FES, everything resides in Activity Insight, essentially a giant filing cabinet on the internet. Faculty will load goals as well as their activities onto Activity Insight, and chairs and deans will go and view or download the reports based on these goals and faculty activities directly in Activity Insight. It is much simpler and much more accessible by those that need to access the information. The data collection for FES is therefore more decentralized than it was for CFEP. Each faculty member, chair, and department collects and views the data directly. The Office of Faculty Evaluation no longer tracks what each faculty member needs to submit and collect for professional advancement. In FES, there is also no quantitative summary score, no magical 3.2 that you need to meet to get promoted. Instead, you will have the annual meeting with your chair to go over goals and expectations, and she or he will make a recommendation regarding professional advancement and contract renewal. For first-term tenure or 5-year contracts and promotion to professor rank, a special committee will be established to review your data portfolio. The committee is called the Term Tenure and Rank Promotion, or TTRP Committee, and will consist of 3 faculty from your school, 1 faculty from FEC, and 1 faculty from another school. I now direct you to the first page of the landscape-oriented white handout. This handout shows the university requirements for extended contract and promotion in FES. The first page lists the sources of evidence for scoring. Refer to this page as I explain the data that will be collected. Some of the data that will be collected in FES is similar to CFEP, and some of them will be different. Idea scores is one that is the same. 2 differences, however, include automation. We are working toward getting these loaded automatically for you onto Activity Insight. The second is a number of courses that will be evaluated with IDEA. If you are in a 1-year contract, 100% of your courses must be evaluated with IDEA. If you are in a 3-year contract, 50% of your courses must be evaluated with IDEA. And if you are in a 5-year contract, only 30% of your courses must be evaluated. FES is meant to be developmental. In other words, we recognize that there are times when you'll be creating new courses or adding elements to courses and will be unsure how students will respond. In such cases, it makes sense to have that course evaluated with IDEA, but you may not want it to count towards professional advancement and will want the score to be removed once you've seen the evaluation. There is a web form you may complete an Activity Insights Idea section where you can offer rationale and request the removal of the score. Another similar piece of data is the Department Collegiality or Faculty Rating of Department Chair Effectiveness scores, known as SL2 or SL4 in CFEP. These, we hope, will also be loaded automatically. The main difference in data collection between FES and CFEP is the activity report. Instead of a checklist, the Excel sheet where you had to find the appropriate sheet, then locate the right cell, in FES, you will enter your activity in each of the 3 faculty roles, educator mentor, scholar practitioner, and servant leader, onto Activity Insight throughout the year. Run, save, and upload a report of these activities at the end of the year, and provide this as evidence of your performance. The chair's rating then will be based on your report and goals and expectations from the year before. Chairs will determine whether you have met, are above, or are below expectations. The final piece of data that will be collected for FES, as with CFEP, is the Faith Integration Project and Rating due in the final year of data collection for professional advancement or extended contract. Some parts of the Faith Integration component are similar and others different. Be sure to check with the Office of Faith Integration for more detailed explanation. I pause here because this is the main difference between FES and CFEP, and I direct your attention to the green handout. Important principles about the goal-setting process covered in this video can also be referenced in this green handout. The new component of FES, the annual goal-setting conversation, will provide you with the opportunity to identify both your goals, which is the language we're using to refer to what you expect to accomplish for the year, and the chair's or department's expectations of you, which is the language we are using to designate what the department or chair will need from you for that year. I refer you now to the white vertically stapled handout as a place to start with your goals and expectations. Some faculty use this document to initially identify their goals, after which they meet with their chairs, then enter the goals into Activity Insight after reaching consensus. Or you may just want to save a step and go directly to Activity Insight and enter your goals there, adjusting and saving an updated report after you've met with your chair. The goals can be lofty, for example, 3-year or 5-year goals. Perhaps you want to write your magnum opus, but anticipate that it will take you 5 years or more. You can approach the goal setting in 2 or more ways. Either enter the same goal for each of the 5 or more years, or divide up the magnum opus into segments and identify each segment as a different annual goal toward the completion of your magnum opus. You'll probably want to keep in mind and embed in your annual goals components that will get you on your way towards your professional advancement goals. The only requirement to keep in mind here is that each role needs to have at least 1 goal annually. You will be evaluated based on what you designate as your goal, but there is some flexibility embedded in the understanding that the goal setting is a negotiation. Any given year, things may come up. An unbelievable opportunity that presents itself after you've had the goal setting conversation that may not be available again. The conversation is meant to be flexible enough to accommodate such opportunities. Just make sure you communicate with your chair and update and get approval on the goals and expectations report. Likewise, in any given year, the chair or department may need an extra portion of your time for departmental goals, undergoing discipline-specific accreditation or a program review, for example. And the negotiation may involve your laying aside an individual goal for that year. The goal setting is meant also to be strengths-based. Different faculty members' list of goals will look different depending on where your strengths lie as educator mentor or scholar practitioner or servant leader. What you include in your goals and expectations will be something between kitchen sink and lowballing. Certain things that are givens, for example, attending departmental faculty meetings, probably don't need to be listed as goals, unless, of course, your chair determines it is an expectation, particularly in cases where faculty are known not to attend regularly. Keep in mind that once the chair and dean sign off the approval will be dated. You will have 30 days to check and appeal if it doesn't align with what you understood to be the agreement during the meeting. I will now be quiet for a moment, or you can press pause so you can read through some sample goals. Note that these are organized by the 3 faculty roles: educator-mentor, scholar-practitioner, and servant-leader. And also note that in parentheses are listed the various focuses within each role. A quick moment to remind you of advancement criteria, and for this, I direct your attention back to the landscape-oriented white handout. You'll see the minimum requirements for promotion and advancement goals. Then on pages 2 and 3, minimum requirements for contract extension and rank promotion are listed. Again, remember that this represents the 2-year work of your peers in the Faculty Evaluation Council. Let's look at page 2, for example. Across the top, you'll note the various roles or responsibilities of the faculty member. And down the left side are the categories of advancement. Select your advancement goal, then look across that row to determine the different goals you must attain in each of the different roles. So in sum, what you see are minimum IDEA scores. Also, the scholarship expectations will vary according to department, assuming you've been having the department conversations on what constitutes appropriate scholarship in your field. Keep in mind that chair's expectations must be met and that there are some slight changes to the faith integration scoring. We now come to our last couple slides of the video. First, the timeline. For this, refer to the pink handout. Note that it is double-sided. Notice that the cycle indicates steps 1 and 2 as occurring in the fall of the first year in FES. But for subsequent annual cycles, the goal-setting conversations will actually take place in the spring, as we will see in a moment. Step 3 is really about you just doing your work. Remember to request the right number of IDEA evaluations, and I suggest that you get used to entering your activities regularly onto Activity Insight, just as you would onto your CV. Remember that you can print a generic CV from Activity Insight too. Steps 4 and 5 then will occur in May and June. At minimum, you'll enter all your activity by the end of May and create, save, and upload the activities report. In June, you'll have your meeting with your chair, go over how you did, as well as what you intend to do for the next year. Chairs will submit ratings, and the cycle starts again. In fact, beginning next year, steps 1 and 2 should converge with steps 5, so this cycle is really just a 3-step cycle. I can't personally emphasize this enough, but I really encourage you to enter your activity into Activity Insight as soon as you complete it. Doing it that way requires only a minute or 2 of your time at that moment. If you wait to enter all your activity at the end of May, you'll spend much more time both to recall your activity and then to enter it. Plus, if any reports are generated from other offices or your chairs and deans mid-year, your work won't be captured and therefore not recognized. You may have already accomplished these steps. Complete your departmental conversation about what constitutes scholarship in your discipline. Have your goal-setting conversations with your chair and department, and get acquainted with Activity Insight. If you have, you're in great shape. If not, feel free to contact us at CTLA. This concludes our brief overview of the new Faculty Evaluation System. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and staying informed.